la 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 אל תשליכני מלפניך רוח קודשך אל תיקח ממני לה 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 יה לה 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 na 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 hey 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 na 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 Shabbos friends. Shabbos. Those words taken from the Psalm can be found on page 5, where the psalmist says, Lev tahor b'rabi Elohim. The word bara is not bara, it's not God. You created in me a pure heart. It's a bakasha, it's a request, bara. Create in me a pure heart. And for those of you who are with us or in any other shul, any other service, on Zoom agog or shul agog, a synagogue, you know that the significance of the word lev, heart, is that it's the word formed from the last letter of the Torah and the first letter of the Torah. The last letter of the Torah is a lamed, and the first letter of the Torah, all the way on the other side. Depending on how you see the Torah, if it's linear or circular, it's either really close or really far. And the place that we have to go to combine the lamed and the bet, the beginning and the end, the heart, that's the story of our lives, the story of every life, is lev tahor, from the beginning to the end, let it be pure. Create in me a pure heart. But more importantly than a pure heart, the psalmist says, v'ruach nachon, a spirit of nachon. The word nachon means right, like correct. But I think it's more accurately a spirit of being able to say yes, really, the spirit of affirmation. To begin this year, Shabbat Breshit, with a ruach nachon, a spirit of yes, of what could be and not what hasn't yet been. The ruach nachon Kaddish b'kirbi, that we might begin the year with hitchashut, renewal. So whether you're here and you're knitting a sweater for your niece, or just your little, or maybe your little friend at home, Or if you're an old friend who's really not old, but just hasn't been here in a long time, but I just thought about you yesterday, the Gluckstants. So good to see Shari and Maurice. And all of those who are Zoom-gagging with us, and all of you here, if any of you are here for the first time, we want to welcome you now. Because singing together is already a very intimate thing. Some of you think, oh, I already know the service. Maybe. But we haven't met yet, so let's sing together. For those of you there on page 8, in the beautiful Romemu Sidur, or if you know it by heart already, the words of the great psalm, the piyut, the words of our ancestors, Yigelena, please reveal the true face that we have, not just with the mask that we wear because of COVID, but the mask of the week. Ein panav shel adam, your face on Shabbat is different than your face during the week, hopefully. On the bottom of the page. Higale, gale, gale, nam, froz, chaviri, Allah, Gane, 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 frost, I see you singing it, Johnny. Everyone's singing with you. Here we go, you got that. Oh, you got it. Page 12. L'Adonai, Echad, Adonai kol haaretz, im Adonai baruch shemo, vasu miyom layom yeshmoto, hamagoyim kevodo lechol ha'amim nifleota, ki gadol Adonai umulam mekomo, yorahu akol Elohim, ay ay kol Elohei hamimeli v'Adonai hamayimasa onehata ve'fana onditiferet ve'mitason Adonai shechol amim Adonai kamol ha'or kamol Adonai Evod shemo ze'oli u'achul chatzlota, ay ay ishtakanu l'Adonai ve'hadrat kodesh chen mipanav Donai malach atu tevel ma'al timot yadim amim be'emish yismu hashamayim taket ha'aretz hiravayam u'melomo yando sadai v'kol ha'shemot אז ירננו כל ציון לפני הוויית וצדק ועמים ואמונו סוד לילה לילה אין לנו איי 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 rise if you are able. If that psalm was psalm for Sunday, we move all the way to Friday's psalm, the sixth psalm that is part of the Kabbalat Shabbat service that says Friday, where all of the energies of the week have gathered, all the pressure is intense as we come to Mizmor LeDavid. We release Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Psalm 29. Mizmor David, Havul Adonai b'negedim, Havul Adonai. Page 20. Boneva oz, hay hay hay, Havul Adonai. Keyevot shemo ishtakam, Adonai be'adras kodesh. Adonai, Nalamayim, Lakavoni, Adonai. Adonai shomer azim vayishamer Adonai azei chazanon vayaminen yemoy Kaddish, kol lebayad, oy ay yechesof, yarot, ubeit halom, kulo omer, chatav vora havaya, lama voyadav, enech ne'onav, tonai oz, leyama yitena vayetiva, et ama v'shalom. You may be seated, everyone. On page 22, in our beautiful words of our ancestors, this prayer, which legend tells us was written by a great sage of the Mishnaic period, Rabbi Nechunya ben Akana. This entire prayer on page 22 and 21 has a lot of Kabbalistic names for God and letter combinations that are really beautiful. But the simplest phrase is the one that we all know from the Shema. The last line on the page, Baruch Shem Kavod, where these 6 words accompany the 6 words of the Shema to create the 13-petal rose, the two sixes, and the ineffable between them. And so as we arrive at the 6th day and say it was evening and it was morning, Yom HaShishi, the 6th day, these 2 sixes, the double 6, the 6 of what is known as the unity above, the Yichud Ila'ah, the Yichud Tata'ah, the lower unity. We proclaim it on Shabbat as we do on Yom Kippur, full-throated, full-throttled. May the blessing and the majesty and the glory of that which is the condition for all things that arise and fall away be present for us at this moment as we stand between the suns, Ben Hashmashot, after the 6th Mizmor, the 6th Ilah, and the coming, the Chadodi. In the liminal space, we affirm Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuso Leolam Va'ed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuso Lam Va'ed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuso Leolam Va'ed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuso Leolam Va'ed Baruch Shem Malchuso Leolam
Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod,
Malchuso Leolam Va'ed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuso Leolam Va'ed
Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
So as we sit together for 2 minutes, I invite you, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes and find a comfortable position that has some energy to it as you sit up. And even as you sit up and bring energy to your posture, notice and bring awareness to sensations in your body, but in particular, not to leave out the back. Notice any sensations in the back of your head, your shoulders, your back, your lower back, backs of your legs, behind you. Just noticing the quality of your entire body, but also, and most especially, that which is behind you. Just noticing if awareness can be like a mirror, where all that arises, all sounds and all sensations land in the mirror without any effort on the mirror's part. No reaching, no making happen. Allowing the mind to be fully Shabbat-esque in receiving. And you might also bring awareness now to the front of your body and to the experience of sensation along the full length and breadth of the front. And in particular, bringing awareness to your face, noticing sensation as it arises when you bring awareness to your face. a sense of being behind your face. And now for the last 30 seconds, I invite you to bring awareness to your throat. And just notice any sensation or any tension, any pressure from the inside around the area of your throat, any effort to breathe or effort to hold back breath. And what might it be like now to just bring a simple, pure awareness to what's arising around the throat. At your own pace, if you'd like to open your eyes and find the words of our ancestors, the beautiful words of the Chadodi on page 23 and 24. Kadodi likras kala ene avas ene kavila shmor vezachor v'dibor chan ishmi'am el hamyuchad Adonai Ushmorecha L'shem Tiferet Ve'letila Amen Adoni Nikras Kalam Tenei Avas Nekar Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor haberalcha merosh mikedem nesukha sov ma'aseh b'machshava tchila nikras melech ir melucha kum nitzai torafecha ram lach sheves yemekam bacha unyacham molala yechem la hey ayet adon omanikras Chami al kan ben ishai ויסלחתי כל מה אל נפשי גאלה אדון נקרס קלה נאי שבס נקבלו יסעורדי kiva ore kumi uri shir kivon Adonai alayich hey Adoni nikra kalav hey Shabbos Jody, come on, Carol for me. Let's be an alley. Robert of the ball. Rochan, Carol. Oh, la la, Neely. Oh, la 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 la. Adoni. It's the first Shabbat of the year, and it's fun saying, how you doing on the first Shabbat? It's going to be the whole year, friends. Is everybody in a rush? Hey, Oh, bum le Shabbat. Nikamila, please rise if you're able. Liturgical, yadada, yadada, yadada. As we turn to face the door, symbolically bringing in the Shekhinah, the presence of Shabbat. Boi b'shalom, ateret b'hala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzohala, v'mach emunei am singula, boi chala. Shabbat Hamalka Lekandoni Lekakana Yanala Yanala Ene Shabbat Nekavela Oh yeah Lekandoni Lekakana Yanala 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 Ene Shabbat Nekavela. I invite you to please remain standing if you're able as we pray for those in the community who are in need of healing tonight. You find the words to this prayer on page 113 as you join us both in the words and also in seeing the names of loved ones who are up on the screen or the loved ones that you're holding in your heart. Pray for so many tonight who need healing at this moment when traditionally, according to Jewish law, we would welcome those who are prohibited from being joyous on Shabbat from entering, mourners and the like. And so at this moment, we lift up those who need healing.
Healer of the brokenhearted, binder of our wounds, counter of the uncountable stars, you know who we are.
Harofei l'shur lev, umchabesh le'atzvotav, mone mispar לכוכבים, לכולם שמות יקרא. אנא אלנה רפאנה לה. רחמותינו ואמותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב משה אהרון דוד שלמה צריך רחל אביל עזיל בדין נעמי רוס ויברך וירפא את כל החולים ובו שכולנו מתפללים בעבורם בזכר זה הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם להחלימם ולרפאותם חזקם ולחיותם וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים ירמח איבריהם ולשסה גידיהם רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף. Shabbat Himilazuak. We pray for them in the merit of our yearnings and our hands reaching out, our phone calls, and all of the ways that we bring healing. May there be healing to body, heart, mind, and spirit this evening. All of those whom we mentioned and all of those in our hearts, we lift them on this Shabbat as we say together, Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, oh, hallelujah, hallelujah. V'nomar amen. You may be seated, everyone. Shabbos, everybody get Shabbos. So good to see so many of you who are here for the first time. Those of you who are not here for the first time, it's also good to see all of you. Just to see someone is just like, that's a bracha, right? It's like seeing you. It's like, it can't become old again, I think. I hope it doesn't, just to see each other. So if you're here for the first time, hold on a second. We're going to have a special invitation, not obligation, invitation to say hello. For just this moment, a couple of really important announcements for all of you and for all of those in the Zumagog. Daily meditations, I've been wanting to just do a sit every day. I don't know, like people who are familiar with that term. I know when I say that, my sister says, "What are you talking about?" I sit all day long. I mean, like, it's kind of a Buddhist shorthand for meditation, to do a sit. So I was wanting to sit for a long time just to settle in the middle of the day. It's a beautiful practice. So at 2 o'clock on all weekdays, so starting on October 6th, this coming Wednesday, I'll be leading a meditation for a half hour from 2 to 2:30. On some days when I'm not there, there'll be a number of different friends leading, but principally I'll be leading it. And so invite you to join us. We already have lots of people registering, so just click the registration and join us. What else is happening in these announcements? Our Romemu Yeshiva, for those who don't know what the Romemu Yeshiva is, it's the first fully egalitarian, contemplative yeshiva in the world. And we're proud of that. We've had 3 years and hundreds of students. And so we continue into the fall semester. There are a number of remarkable courses that you can take. I want to call out my dear friend, Rabbi Daniel Silverstein, who's teaching a course on revolutionary spirituality. I'll be continuing my course on Judaism and Buddhism and the places where they meet and don't. One God clapping. And of course, the world-renowned teacher, Rabbi Jill Hammer, on the book of formation, Sefer Tzira. Also, our adult education courses are going to be in full swing. That's the Romemu The Well, which is our adult education. We have the Walking the Path, which is an introduction to Judaism class, and also classes for Hebrew. We have the remarkable Beit Midrash taught by our incredible director of lifelong learning, Rabbi Diane Kolaresis. So all of that is available, resources for all of you to nourish your hunger for wisdom and Torah. Home hosting, online and on-site. That's going to be happening on October 29th and 30th, so registration required. That's kind of like a way that we do hospitality here. It used to be that we were literally in the home, but now it's kind of Zoom hosted and home hosted. So check that out, October 29th and 30th. Lots of different topics to choose from. You get paired if you want to talk about one of those 16 topics. I'm not going to go into them, but you get it. Okay. Chutinos. I like it. Okay. There's a screening on October 3rd, which is on Sunday rather, at 2 o'clock. Also, our Hebrew school is open, and we have an open house. It's on October 4th, which is Monday at 4:15. That's, of course, a global school. You don't have to be local to take our holistic Hebrew school spiritual curricula. And put into your calendar a Leonard Cohen memorial on October 16th, Saturday night, October 16th, which should be incredible. Our own cantor, Chazan Schechter, actually was a pen pal with Leonard Cohen and is really connected with him. We also are, and we have... there's an academic down at NYU who's written a book about Leonard Cohen's work, and so we're going to be doing that together on Saturday, October 16th. Mazel tov tonight to Rachel Wall and Alex Goldstick, celebrating the naming of their baby in Romemu, Brooklyn, the Shabbat, Brooklyn. Karen and Jonathan, unbelievable. Nana and Zadie, Saba and Safta. And of course, tomorrow, Josh Lunior and Sarah Bechtel will be celebrating their Ofruf with us tomorrow. So come, everybody, on Zoom. Come dance with longtime members, our wonderful couple that are going to be celebrating their upcoming marriage together with us tomorrow morning. Okay. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock, I'll be teaching the open book with Rabbi Kolaresis, and I will teach together tomorrow. And services again at 10 o'clock tomorrow here and also online. Thanks to everybody behind the scenes for putting those announcements together. If you're here for the first time in the Zoomagog, the chat should be open to say hello to you. If you are new for the first time here in the Roomagog or the synagogue, we'd love to say hello to you. If you'd like to stand, that has become our custom over the last 13 years of full-time shuling. If you feel comfortable standing and saying your name and where you're from, we get a chance to honor you and do the mitzvah of Hachnasat Orchim. I got it. Anybody? Anybody want to stand and say hello? Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
We are Tema and Isaías, and we are from Brazil, from São Paulo, Brazil.
Say it one more time because we didn't have it on yet, so go ahead.
Okay, I'm Tema, Isaías. We are from São Paulo, Brazil.
Okay, welcome.
And first time here.
First time here. And what community do you belong to in Sao Paulo?
CP.
Okay.
Congre-
Rabbi
congre-
Bonder or no?
No, Bonder is in Rio de Janeiro.
He's in Rio de Janeiro. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, you can pass it there, yeah. I'm so Brazilian ignorance. I'm sorry.
Hi, everyone. My name is Adam Graubart, and I'm coming from Crown Heights, across the river. Prospect and Nostrand? In Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, Shabbat Shalom.
Hi, Shabbat Shalom. I'm Esther Baruch. I'm visiting from California, although I'm originally from Brooklyn. And I'm here for my high school reunion.
Hi, my name is Josephine Martinez. I reside in the Bronx, and I am here because I work with a wonderful doctor. His name is Jonathan Samuels. Maybe you know him. And he asked me one question: are you having doubt with your faith? And I say, yes. I come from a Catholic background, and I told him that I was ready to actually take a new journey in my life. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi,
Thank
my
you.
name is Lila, and I am back for the first time in years now living in Brooklyn.
Wow. Romemu is having a service in Brooklyn. The people from Brooklyn came to Manhattan. I imagine all the people in Brooklyn are from Manhattan. Could be. So good to have you. Sorry, my microphone was off before, but I wanted to welcome you especially. Thank you for trusting us enough to come into a space that you don't know. It's really very inspirational. Thank you. All right, Yonatan, the dancer, dance this microphone to the end of the community.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm from 10 blocks south of here. I grew up outside D.C. in Northern Virginia.
Okay. All right.
Hey, my name is Evan. I also live right here. I'm visiting from 98th Street. I'm from Long Island, but nobody's perfect.
Oh, come on. We're very loving. I'm from Long Island. Oh, my goodness, not to impugn. Thank you so much for being here. I just want to say, as we keep moving around the room here, to our friends in the Zumagog who are in the, you have the largest room in the shul, right? We can only fit 100 or so people in here, but you can fit about 1,000. I just want to make sure that you don't get lost in the shuffle, and that requires participation. I can't actually knock on can't see if you're here for the first time. So if you are here for the first time and the chat is open, and you feel comfortable letting us know where you're from, we'll call out, I promise. But that's the only way I can guarantee that you guys who are in the Zoom will also be with us in the room as well. But I hope you heard all of the new people who are here. We have a ton of Brooklyn people here tonight. And there's room for some more. So next week, God willing, we'll see a lot of you who are around the corner and feel comfortable coming here and being with us as well. We have room here and for all of you. This community started in 2009 as a full-time, 2008, excuse me, as a full-time community. And so we're in our bar mitzvah year, our 13th year, coming to a close in the spring. But it was 13 years ago that we had our first high holiday services across the street in our larger sanctuary, which is, of course, closed because of air conditioning and our desire to have as much comfort for those who show up in the sanctuary as much as possible. And also because we love being in this space because it's ours, right? We don't rent this space. This belongs to the Romemu community, bought by the Romemu community in 2018. And as a blessing, that's where we have our Hebrew school. It's where we now currently have a yeshiva day school called Beit Rabban that rents the third floor from us. It's where many, many celebrations have taken place, and also where we hope, God willing, to continue building out and building up this community in the days and years to come. So we welcome you. We always say here in Romemu that it's not really our place to welcome anyone, because really houses of worship don't belong to anyone per se, but it belongs to the divine, to the spirit that animates all of life. whether it's in Long Island or in Sao Paulo, whether it's in Brooklyn or the Upper West Side, it's the same owner. And that owner, as it were, she likes it when we welcome one another as much as possible. So if you wouldn't mind, like, rising, and for a moment looking around the room and seeing all the people who have come tonight, this unique evening, all of those in the Zoom, if you could look around the Zoom, if those of you who are off camera could come on camera for a minute, just for us to say hello and share in fellowship. Is that the right key?
I'll tell you in a second.
Da da da, ay ay ay, da da da, ay ay ay, ya da da, ay da da, da da da, ay ay ay, ya da. Any night, 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 my whole night, 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 yeah, night, 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 night. We're on page 31 and 32. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. Hey, Adonai, 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 We continue on page 33 and 34. Ruchat Shechina Lotenu V'cholam Asher Bidvarav Mariva Aravim Ored Yom HaLayla Golelet Or B'nei Choshech. Even as you sit here, noticing the breath as it comes and as it goes, we celebrate impermanence, we bless the change. Ela chaya v'kayemet, tamid timloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, beruchat Shechina המריבה ערבים היי חוק ניינה Page 35 and 36. Did you put more love in the world today? More love on your way to the setting sun. You have only one reason. Avat Olam Beit Yisrael, each and every night we do a love inventory. How much love did we put into the world today? Moments where love was the response and we miss that moment will come again and we will say, this time I will respond with love. Did you put more love in the world today? Avat Olam Beit Yisrael Amecha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot V'yavatecha Al tasrim mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. On page 39 and 40. V'yohavta eis Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha ובכל מאודיך והיו אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך
ובלכתך בדרך
ובשעריך ובקומך וקשרתם לבוס על ידיך והיו לטות תפוס בין עיניך וכסבתם You can continue on page 41 and 42 and 43 and 44 והיה אם שמע תשמעו על מצוותיי אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ויעשו להם את ציצית על גנבי בידיהם לגורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת והיה לכם לציצית אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אדוני אלוהיכם אמש As we turn to page 48. ואני מת גבוהתו שבחורו ידעו לשמוע מה כותב על ספגליה.
מי כמוך בעלים אדוני
במלים אדוני
מי כמוך
מי כמוך
נדבר קודש
נדבר קודש נורא תהילו
מלכותך
רק ובניך
ובניך
בוקי הים
בוקי הים
לפני משה ומרים
לפני משה ומרים
זה אלי אנו יבנו אדוני ימלוך
אדוני ימלוך
לעולם ועד
לעולם ועד
on that day, oh Jacob,
on that day will Jacob
Jacob will say, you know, wow, I wish I had been alive to see that day. So many that days that we pray that we see in our lifetime. That's the truth. Baruch atah Adonai. Go al Yisrael. Pray for peace on page 49 and 50. Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom Yamidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim Frosleinu. Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Sukkot Shelomecha Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Sukkot Shelomecha Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha Baruch Ata Adonai Haporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei Tevel ve'al Yerushalayim. Please rise if you are able. For Vishamnu on page 51 and 52. Vishamnu Bnei Yisrael Et HaShabbat לעשות את בתורותם בנים. ובין בני ישראל עוד יגלה עולם משק עשנו את השמיים וביום השביעי שבת ומנהג. חצי קדיש on the bottom of the page. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה וילמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומך ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה בה ובזמן קוראים ומרו יש מי רבה מבורך לעולם יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם תנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשא בריחו לעילא מן כל מלכסא ושיר עשה תוש בחסא ונחמתה גם אירן בעלמא and let us say invite you to 4 minutes of silence and or the words of our ancestors, which you can find on page 55 and 56. A number of other ways of standing in reflection and contemplation are offered on page 53. We invite you to any of those as we stand together. אם תחנם עלי מחנם, לא יירא ליבי. אם תקום עלי מלחמה, בזאת אני מותח, בזאת אני מותח, בזאת אני בוטח, בזאת אני בוטח, בזאת אני בוטח, בזאת אני בוטח. אם תקום עלי, אם תחנה עלי מחנה, לא יירא ליבי. אם תקום עלי מלחמה, בזאת אני מותח, בזאת אני מותח, בזאת אני בוטח, בזאת אני בוטח. אם תקום עלי, לא יירא, לא יירא, לא יירא, לא יירא, לא יירא, לא יירא, לא יירא. אם תקום עלי. There's a habit that each and every one of us does, I think, daily. It's a habit that if you're aware of your own mind and your own heart, the way that we construct reality, the way that we live our days, the way that we wake up, the way that we go to bed, the way that we interact with one another, you'll notice a subtle habit that we have that God seems to have too, at least in the Torah. I haven't met God in that way, or maybe I have, but seems to be a habit that the Torah speaks to that's pretty good advice for us. And after all, what exactly is the Torah except a really, really good series of advice on how to live a better life, Jewishly speaking? So the habit is basically this. Most of us, if not all of us, think that the way to improve our lives, the way to improve our relationships, the way to improve our jobs, the way to improve our happiness is to focus on what's not working and fix it. We are, at least evolutionarily speaking, to some degree, predisposed to noticing lack, to noticing what's missing. Those who are in the field of architecture can speak to this. Artists among us can speak to the way that the mind and the brain maps missing pieces and kind of fills in what's missing. We're drawn to lack. We're drawn to pain. We're drawn to what irks us and what seems to not be going well. And there's something very profoundly important about that. Don't get me wrong. The air conditioning here probably is making all of us feel a bit more comfortable than were it not on. And that was a pretty ingenious invention, even if we can talk about whether or not it's ruining the planet. But you get my drift. There are things that we need to fix and focus on what's lacking in order to fix it. But two brothers, the Heath brothers, in a book called Switch, argue that really change happens not when we notice what's going wrong, but when we bring our attention to what's going right and notice the conditions around that appearance of right and replicate it. In the Torah portion, I alluded to God has a habit. So the Torah portion tomorrow morning will be the beginning of the book of Genesis, the beginning of the Torah. And one of the most remarkable things is that the Torah doesn't begin with goodness. It begins with choshech, with darkness. The first verse of the Torah says, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim et haaretz, in the beginning of God's creation, heaven and earth. Ve'haaretz hayta tov vavo vechoshech al pnei tehom. Second verse. And the earth was unformed, it was chaotic, it was dark. Things were pretty bad. This is where Leonard Cohen, of course, gets his, you want it darker. It's pretty dark in the beginning. According to the rabbinic tradition, the Torah is playing off of creation myths that are extant in the ancient Near East, but the Torah begins with chaos. Creation begins with darkness. And here, of course, darkness, we're not going to get into a philosophical conversation about dark and the moral valence of dark, but here in the Torah it means very clearly, as the next verse will tell us, that something that needed fixing. And so God creates light. Vayomer l'mi'or, and God says, let there be light. Vayi'or, and there was light. And then God does something really amazing. Vayar Elohim es ha'or ki tov. And God saw that the light, and God said, woof, that's good. And lest we think that it's a moment of vanity, God's saying, wow, look at that. Did you see what I just did there? Look at that. Look at me. I'm omnipotent. That's the way it works. I can just do what I want. Look at that. You're welcome. There you go. Here's your, I'm a demigod. I'm a god. There's the light. No, the Torah says, Vayar Elohim es ha'or ki tov. And God said it was good. In each and every moment of the creation story in chapter 1 of the book of Genesis, God will say it was good. And in the writings of the great-grandson of the Baal Shem Tov, of Nachman of Breslev, this is called finding the nekuda tovak, finding the good point. And saying, oh, that's good. You know who's got this down? Ted Lasso. And it bothers everybody. He says, like in one of the first episodes, he says, my wife wants, our marriage might not last. My optimism is getting in the way. I keep finding the nekuda tovah, I keep finding these good points. And maybe it's Pollyannish, or maybe it begins to wear on you. You say, oh, wow, what a tzaddik, what a righteous person. He's always finding these good points. But according to those brothers I mentioned, the Heath brothers, this is the work that they've done in short-term therapeutic intervention, is to find the storyline where something is anomalous because it's good. In every situation, they have a number of examples, but one of them was there was a child who was, was impossible child. He was being thrown into every foster care. And each and every situation, the child was being told over and over again that the child was disruptive and aggressive. And until finally, the Heath brothers quote this study where a particular person who had this Ted Lassoism, this kind of God, it's a good point, this optimistic look, this ability to find the hidden thing. He arrives on the scene and he begins to track this kid whose name is Bobby in all of his classes, and there's one class amongst all the classes where Bobby's doing well. Or better, not well, but better than in the other classes. And so this researcher that the Heaths quote, his name was John Murphy. Murphy came in and he asked this child about that class that was better than the other classes, where he was performing slightly better. And so this kid, Bobby, said to this researcher, John Murphy, he said, in Mrs. Smith's class, something's going on. Can you tell me anything about Mrs. Smith's class? And Bobby said, not really. I don't know, he writes. He said, she's nicer. We get along great. So the researcher said in his Ted Lasso, God finding the spark, what the researchers call the bright spot, finding the bright spot, the nekuda tovah, that little point. These researcher, John Murphy, says to him he wasn't content with this vague conclusion that this Mrs. Smith was nicer. And he kept probing until Bobby identified several things about the class that seemed to help him behave well. For instance, Miss Smith always greeted him as soon as he walked into the class, and the other teachers understandably avoided him. She gave him easier work, which she knew he could complete because Bobby had a learning disability. And whenever the class started working on an assignment, she checked with Bobby to make sure he understood the instructions. Mrs. Smith's class was a bright spot. It was nekuda tovah. It was tov. It was good. And so John Murphy, the researcher, started to try to replicate those conditions. He said, what would it be like if those things that happened in Mrs. Smith's class would happen in other classes? Instead of focusing on why he doesn't behave well in those other classes and doing archaeology, figuring out maybe it was something in his past. He said, let's replicate the things that are going well, what they call finding the bright spot and repeat it. Find the bright spot. Man, I love that. I love it. It's not easy, right? Oh man, it's not easy. The ninth letter of the Hebrew alphabet is a tet. Its shape is kind of like a big ball with one piece sticking in, really this piece like this. That's what it's shaped like. And the first time it appears in the entire Torah is on the word good, tov, good. And the mystics say, you see, the letter itself tells you the story about what good is. It's hidden. You have to look for it, like that little piece that is pointing inside. Find the bright spot. Repeat it. Find the bright spot. Repeat it. Vayar Elohim es ha'or ki tov. And God said out loud, you know, I also had that problem. I started with darkness. But then I made some light and I named it. And then I repeated it and repeated it. And the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day, it was good, it was good, it was good, until finally we get to the sixth day where God creates human beings and you think, wow, God's going to say it's good, and God doesn't say it's good. And now we know why. Who's supposed to say it's good? Us. God says, you want to build a world? Practice. Practice finding the light, finding the good thing. So for you, Joshua, on this Friday night before your Ofruf, and to Sarah, I say to you that this is the deeper meaning behind the 7 blessings that we recite under the wedding canopy. Why do we have to have 7? It's enough. Say 1. The rabbis say, whatever you bless will increase. Whatever you bless and repeat, whatever bright spot you find will become many bright spots. It's a rule of thumb in relationships. It's a rule of thumb in friendship. It's a rule of thumb in a world that looks sometimes like it couldn't get much darker. That's our work in the world. Find the bright spot. Trust it. Increase. Let's rise together. Page 50. Sorry? That's a great riff, by the way. That sounds like when I wake up. That's like the Cranberries. I thought I was like, there's like, it's like, no, I'm gonna be the one who gets to walk with you. That's what it felt like. You know? So it was like, name that niguin. Okay, page 78, everybody. V'hashe vota. You guys start, okay? Ready? And Zumagog, ready? V'hashe vota. You go. V'hashe. Then we go. V'hashe vota. El levavecha. El levavecha. El levavecha. Ki Adonai. Ki Adonai. Hu ha'elo. Hu Elohim. Hu ha'elohim. We'll do it one time. We do it. V'hashe vota. V'hashe. may be seated into this sacred space. We lift up those who are in mourning. We lift up the names and the presence of the loved ones whom they are commemorating tonight. In a moment, I'll invite those in the room to stand, but just for a moment, the mourners who are remembering Ada Austrian, Dr. Lonnie Smith, and May Carol Greenwald in the first week of mourning. Odette Arad, Ellen Dumaine, Benny Pete, Michael Leese, Cantor Richard Kaplan, William Emerson Hill, Naomi Heller, Chazan Richard Kaplan, and Marcia Friedman. Benjamin Wolf Telushkin, Beth Baldridge, Dvorah Stoll, Lee Brox, Jean Foreman Shore, Ellsworth Levine, Erwin Bardash, Mr. Elsie Pops Floyd, Lynn Blacker, Shirley Gatzik, Graceton in Denmark, Rabbi Raphael Goldstein, Hamagid Yitzchak Buxbaum, Brady Rifkin, Lorette Nierenberg, Barry Kosky, Betty Levin, Seymour Borstein, Leslie Robert Axelrod, Charlotte Figman, Stuart Saville, Lily Zemet, Julia Eisenberg, Shirley Marlowe, Gretchen Jury, Michael Fricano Jr., Nancy Traeger, Rabbi Dr. Henry Dicker, and Robert Gerald Cohen, and Angela Lem Margolis. We remember tonight Everett Duchen, Batya Ariel Bat Avraham, Kathy Maddy, Elizabeth Deegan, Bertha Sutton, Naomi Kramer Stemp, Miriam Mimi Stern-Wolf, Hadassah Loeb, Roberta Lipperman, Alice Macaras, Andy Neiman, Pauline Dixon, Joel Winograd, Albert Pastner, Aliza Pesha Bat Chana, Henry Bowman Backer. Our Rabbi Diane Kolorasis, his mother, Vivian Esses, Chaya Bat Olga, Leon, Shirley Siegel, Henry Lee, Stan Hildebrand, and Heidi Sue Kingsbury. We remember tonight Rose Marcy. It's kind of the strange way that people can put names into our particular system. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Alav Shalom. We remember tonight, during this year of Yortzeit, anyone in the Zoom room here, in the Rumagog, if anybody has somebody that they'd like to stand and remember, we invite you to do so. As we pass around the microphones, those on Zoom can hear.
My father, Alan Dumaine, and my grandmother, Lee Brox.
Eric Epstein, friend and colleague.
The yard site of my sister Leah.
Shirley Gatzik and Henry Lee.
Just last night, we lost my teacher and principal, Rabbi David Eliach, at age 99. He was a wonderful leader.
Wow. We're going to bring the microphone over here to this side, and then if you could, Michaeli, just give me the chat area so I can see those in the chat. Thank you so much.
My ex-wife, Mary Ann Weber Dubin.
I'm thinking of my dear friend Lynn Schneider.
Wow.
Eric and Damaten Dominguez and William Emerson Hill.
Remember tonight Arlene Applebaum, Sarah Balsam, Irving Applebaum, Lou Aronowitz, Beatrice Soldalet, Joshua Heilman, Phil Schapp, Dorothy Wilner, and Leah Nico. If it is your custom to stand for the mourners, please rise for the mourners' Kaddish. It can be found on the screens and also in your Sidur on page 116. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'olma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayed chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman kori v'imru. Yehi shmei Rabbah mivorach le'alam yomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kutsha brichu. Le'ilam in kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran v'olma v'imiru. Amen. Yehi shlom Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim tovim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehi zichram baruch. May their memory be a blessing. I invite everybody to please rise as we conclude the service tonight. Whoa. Don't worry, I got it. We invite everybody. Okay. into this cup of blessing. A big yasher koach to our prayer leaders tonight, to Luke Wagadny. We're going to have Luke a lot this year, God willing. So it's such a blessing to have you, brother.
Thank you.
Oh, man. It's like, whew. Cat Stevens meets, I don't know, something is amazing. And the Shechina, and thank you. And then Shoshana Jedwab, the Shechina Mamash. Into this cup of blessing, our full stack team. Thanks, guys. Really great tonight. To Matt and to Anthony, and also to Natalia, Justin, and Junior, and Freddie, who helped set up the space. To those online, Noah and Ari, thanks, guys, for everything you're doing. And for in-house here, Michele, you've become a Michele. Michele's here. Thank God. Into this cup of blessing, guys. Romemu community members, get to know the staff here. You know, introduce yourself, say hi, thank you. It's really important for us to, as we reopen, that we see people behind the scenes and also in front, or just, introduce yourselves. To all of you who came tonight, thank you for making this Shabbat really beautiful. Like, crazy times, but this was a bright spot, and I'm finding it, and I'm going to repeat it, God willing, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock, our services again on page, I think it's 88. It's New Siddur. Yeah, 88. Here it is. Vayar li miskol asher asa v'hinei tov me'od vayar vayevoker yom hashishi vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam vayechal Elohim vayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa vayishpos vayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa vayivarech Elohim es yom hashevi'i Kaddish, Kivo Shavas Mikom Melachto, Shevara Elohim Lasot. Sorry, my friends, the Chaim, all the people in the Zumagog. Baruch, don't drink yet. What are you doing, Stephen, wait a second. There's a delay. Yeah, there's like a Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'zotav v'ratzavanu v'shavas kol shom yahava v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishis ki hu yom dechilach lemikra'ei kodesh zecher li'yitziat mitzrayim kivandu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta im kol ha'amim Shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava u'v'ratzon inchalta, Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen.
Chaim, everybody, Shabbos, and Joni. Oseh shalom bimromam. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו הוא עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. Yom da-da-da-da, yom da-da-da-da, yom da-da-da-da, yom da-da-da-da, yom da-da-da-da, yom da-da-da-da. Shalom aleinu ve'al על כל ישראל, שבת שלום. Hey, Daniel, Sue-Ann. Nearly, Shabbos nearly. Shabbos, everybody. See you tomorrow. Shabbos. Shalom Aleinu, Shabbat Shalom Aleinu, Shabbat Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam. Shabbat Shalom Aleinu, Shabbat Shalom Aleinu, Shabbat Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al olam, Shabbat Shalom, Salam. Shabbat Shalom Aleinu, Shabbat Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam. Shabbat Shalom Aleinu, Shabbat Shalom Aleinu, Shabbat Shalom Aleinu, ve'al oh salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam.
Shalom Aleinu, oh yavo Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam. Oh yavo Shalom Aleinu, oh yavo Shalom Aleinu, oh yavo Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam.